Hello. Hello. You guys doing? Hi, Molly, Mo, Opal. Uh-oh. Got some action going on here. Who's in a heat? Are they all in a heat for you? Yeah. So it does look like Lovebug's doing his job, which is what I was kind of hoping. Oh goodness, it's so loud in here. Let me move away from these loud mouths. It's near feeding time, so they're all very hungry. But he did exactly what I thought he would do. With these younger does, sometimes when they get around a buck, they're gonna go into a heat. Just because they're not used to smelling a buck that close, they're not used to a buck kind of pushing them and making advances. And not to mention, it got really cold last night. So the mud is no longer mud, it's all crispy, which I am okay with. But I just have to get used to this cold again. Go from 60 degrees to a high of like 23. It's a little bit of a shocker for all of us. So I'm watching these girls pretty close, but he did exactly what I thought he would do. It looks like we've got the beginnings of some heats coming on. So I'm hoping by the end of the week that they'll all have been covered and bred and that I can go ahead and do the separation. But what I'm planning to do today is I'm planning to do my buck maintenance. I want to check in on flu to make sure that urine scald is healing. And I just want to make sure that everybody's healthy and happy up until that point. So we're doing buck maintenance today. Got all my does done last week when it was 60 degrees. It was fabulous. So now, of course, I've waited till it's about 20 degrees to do the buck. So let's go ahead and get our stuff together and let's get this done. Here, girls. Here, girls. Here you guys go. Bon appetit. It was very advantageous that Mr. Lovebug is already in the barn with some ladies. So I'm going to do him first because I'm actually going to have to take my entire stand and some supplies down to the buck pen because my stand actually has wheels that go into the bottom of it because I got them at Premier One. I'm going to link that down below. It is not an affiliate link. I get no kickbacks from it, but if anybody has goats in multiple pens, being able to take your goat stand from one place to the other with minimal wear and tear on your back is a-okay in my book. So I wanted to share that with you guys. But what I'm going to do for him is I'm going to be giving him some chemical dewormers. All of their Fumanchas are just a touch too low. But the problem with that is my herbal dewormer has been on back order. It's been out. So I've been waiting a couple of weeks and I can kind of tell in their Fumanchas that I've been waiting a couple weeks when they're used to getting that herbal dewormer weekly, that whatever parasites are in their systems are not being kept in check. So I'm actually going to be dual deworming him. I'll be dual deworming with Panicure and Cydectin. Those hit the two big groups of parasites in our area. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to deworm him. I'm going to check over his hooves and just make sure he's not suffering from urine scald, even though he isn't as big of a pee-pee face as Flu is. It's always good to put on gloves when you're going to be dealing with hoof trimming because these guys tend to kick when you least expect it, and usually it's when you're in the middle of a snip and your finger's right there. So it's really good to make sure, at least on the hand that's holding hooves, you have a glove on. I'm also going to be taking his weight today with a dairy goat measuring tape for weight, even though I don't think these are very accurate, but at least gives me a general overall idea. And I'll be talking about this a little bit later. I know. Could you not kick me? Just glad you're a little slower. There you go. There, now you can kind of just stand right here. So this is another good thing about these little Nigerians, especially with the little ones. You can kind of get them to stand with your leg underneath of them, and that immobilizes his back end, so they can't really kick and get away from you. Because the more they kick with you and doing their hooves, the more likely they are to sustain an injury, hurt you. They'll sustain a cut from your hoof trimmers. You'll sustain a cut from your hoof trimmers, and it gives them an overall better experience on the stand so that they're not afraid to be on the stand. And that's why I like having Nigerian dwarfs, because boars and standard sizes, you can't really get away with this. Hello, are you gonna poop on me? You're really never gonna poop on me, okay. I am never appreciated for the jobs that I do for these guys. I'm gonna go ahead and take a weight on him, see where he's at. And you guys can see that this is dairy goat weight tape. Oh, my end came off. That's okay though. And you'll see that right here, it shows pounds and kilograms. So you're gonna take this, and I try to make sure that the pounds and kilograms side, when I go underneath of my goat, is faced down. I take it under the heart girth, which is like right over by the withers, right behind the shoulders. And I'm gonna put the tape here, and I'm gonna pull this so it's nice and snug until I see where the tape meets. And the tape meets roughly right around in this area. So he's roughly around 40 pounds, which is pretty good for his age. I'd like him to be a little bit bigger, but actually this guy had a really bad battle with barber pole worms, and we almost lost him. It was very stressful. It was a lot of treatment, especially because he was new to our farm, and that does happen with new goats on your farm. It's really important to watch them because the stress of coming to a new farm makes their immunity kind of drop because of the stress, which makes them a little bit more susceptible to acquiring a heavy parasite load. And in these younger goats, heavy parasite loads are just as bad as coccidia. It can kill them really quickly. So the moment you notice that your goat is off, a new goat in the pasture is off, not coming to feed, is secluding themselves away, or is lethargic and laying down a lot more than they should, you need to get a hold of them, check their Filmmaker score, which is the eyelid score, which you guys can see up here, and to see if they're anemic. Because if they're anemic, then you've got issues going on, and you're going to need to take a fecal sample to your local livestock vet to see what parasites you're dealing with so that you know what to treat for. But luckily we got this guy through it, but he's a little bit on the smaller side, but he has grown substantially since we got him over that. So he's a good fella, he's right on track. Oh, you're so soft. Next is gonna be his least favorite part. My least favorite part too, I hate giving dewormers. Really, really hate giving them. He's got some Panicure. Buddy, down the hatch. Try to get it in the side of their mouth and as far back as you can. There you go. He didn't try to spit it out. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. And it's just enough to help him kick whatever worms are in his system. And all of the dosages that I'm giving, I have a sheet of approved dosages per weight for goats for each one of my dewormers, because you'll find that a lot of dewormers are not approved for goats, so the dosage is different. Panicure that I'm using is a white dewormer. It is a fenbendazole, and it treats a specific type of worm. It's usually for horses. So I got this from Tractor Supply. I've got my handy dandy sheet over here, which I will show you guys in just a second. And I will also be giving oral drench of Cydectin. You guys can see this is approved for sheep, but not goats. And the reason for that is that goats metabolize things differently than a lot of other ruminants. So there's just not a lot out there that's approved for them. Okay. Excuse me. No! This one you will not like. I know. You're already like, ah, it's yucky. It is yucky. I'm really sorry. So try to keep their heads up. Make sure they're swallowing before you let them down, because a lot of goats will head sling, and they'll sling a lot of that out if you let them. So actually this guy's done, so I'm gonna go ahead and take him back to his lovely ladies and get ready to go down to the rest of our bachelor group. So now that we're done with Love Bug, we're gonna go down to the rest of the bachelor group. And you guys heard me say, I take my entire stand, and this is how. So the bottoms of my stand are hollow, which means that these rods next to these wheels will slide up onto either of those front or back legs, and it makes it easy for me to drag it to wherever I need it to go. This is great at goat shows. This is great if you have multiple pens and you don't have multiple goat stands. It helps to save your back. It makes it much easier, and all around, I mean, it's a good buy to save your back. So I'm simply going to lift up, place the rods, where the feet should go. Up. There you go. Now she is good to go on the go. Oops. Sorry, guys. Good. And for anybody wondering, Flu has done a really good job about respecting my space ever since we had our one showdown. He's never done that before. He hasn't done it again, but all of those factors we were talking about, does and heat, pheromones from me, being in his space for an extended amount of time, cleaning out the buck house, which was stirring up lots of bucky smells. He's been really good about kind of giving me my space and just respecting me. So we're on good terms again, and anything that I did to him did not hurt him. This guy can exert about 700 pounds of force through a butt. So if he were to hit me or a small child with a butt, it's pretty serious, which is why we treated it seriously. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Here we go. Oh, good boy. Taking that like a champ. Good job. Let's do your weight. See if you're a big old feller like I know you are. Then we'll do his hooves, and then we'll check him for urine scald. All right. You're right at 80 pounds. Man, Willie's catching up to you, dude. Man, you're doing good. You're doing really good, buddy. You're doing good. So I'm sure some of you have been wondering too, how is he doing on Urine Scald? Well, I did take a look at him and it looks like he's healed up. I'm gonna go ahead and put Nustock on one more time, but I wanna show you what cleaning and just basically tending to that open wound can do. You guys can tell that in this area where he was afflicted with Urine Scald, it's not red anymore. He's got some fuzz coming back in, and he did start to develop it over here as well. So you can tell this little bald patch, but it's not red anymore, and he's got some fuzz coming in. So I probably will apply Nustock one more time, but he looks really good, and this boy's beautiful face doesn't have any signs of Urine Scald either, which is just all around really good, because I was kind of worried about those being open wounds, especially because of all the rain that we've been getting lately. It would have just been a perfect storm for him to get an infection and become sick. So overall, all of our bucks are in really good health. Their hooves all looked really good. This fella has totally recovered from urine scald, which I'm really glad to see. Everybody looks like they're doing good after breeding season and ready to go into the winter nice and healthy, and hopefully be nice and healthy in the spring. Here's my big stanky boy. Oh, him is a good boy. Him is a good boy. I'll watch your nubs a little bit. I don't want you to get all crazy in here. But you're a good boy. Him is a good feller. You're a good boy. You're so handsome. You're so handsome. Show the people your handsome face. I know, pee-pee face. I know. You're such a good boy. You ready to go back in? I think so. Here we go. Good boy. Easy, easy does it. Easy does it. Good boy. Oh, you're being so good. Here you go. Have a good day. Jared, nobody wants to see your butt. Get out. Nobody wants to see your butt. Nobody wants to see your butt.